All right, we are live once again. I am excited to have Latanya Shockley on this show, so I'm gonna bring her on in, and there she is.
Hello. How
We
are
had, we
you?
had some. Did we not figure that out, or what?
That's what I do. I keep telling you.
We had some technical
Always on
difficulties.
time.
That's right. We had 15 seconds, and she figured it out, and here we are, folks. But I really want to thank you for taking the time to support the channel to get on. And you and I actually met at a festival at the Palms, and
Yes.
you were there. And I'm so glad that I walked up and started talking to you. Your spirit and your vibes are just awesome. But if you
Thank you.
want, let's get things going and just tell us about yourself and your background.
Background. Well, three adult children. I'm empty nesting. I
Okay.
am
Oh,
a, and no, don't be jealous.
I'm an empty nester too. So,
Oh, look at you. Okay, so fun. So
yeah.
I have a background as a medical assistant. I am
Okay.
a certified CPR instructor.
Okay.
I am a licensed minister and currently a marketer for Family First Hospice.
Awesome. Tell me a little bit about your ministry.
Ministry. Well, I feel we all are ministers.
There you go.
Um, I was licensed back in my son was 16 at the time, on his 16th birthday. He's 32 now. So that's 16
Okay.
years ago.
All right.
I've done everything from children's church to youth ministry, adult classes, and vacation Bible school, the church anniversaries. I've been the pastor's assistant, the church administrator, the summer camp director. So lots of back altar council, weddings, funerals, baby dedications, baptisms, you name it. So
Jeez,
um,
there's a
I've
list.
become all things that I might save a few, right? And so
I tell you, that's needed today more than ever, right?
yes,
World,
absolutely.
this world is getting all wacko on us. But how you got two sons? Did you say
I
any
have two
daughters?
boys and a girl. The girl is in
Okay,
the middle. Yes.
bless her heart.
She thinks she the other mom, so she all right.
That is too good. Well, what's been your journey as a caregiver? What's your personal and professional journey with caretaking?
Well, it's kind of all personal for the caregiver. It kind of happened to me just like you said, as in ministry, you kind of gravitate to something where God is doing something.
Hmm.
And actually, the home I live in, the family that was the couple that was selling it to me, turns out they were ill. The lady met me at a prayer breakfast, and I only knew her once, but she prayed and said the Lord said that her house was for me.
Mm,
And she sent on a search for me, and when she found me, was telling me all of this, and it actually came to pass. But in the process, she and her husband were ill, and I wound up just intermittently taking care of them. And she slowly went down, and that's how I naturally saw the gifts about hospice and
hmm.
began to put people in place for her, to manage her meds and to get the baths and just I knew people, so I started calling all cars to get some help for this couple.
Right.
And one of the ladies was a nurse for hospice and saw something in me, and I kind of took care of them. She transitioned, and her husband completed everything. I wound up being his caregiver until he relocated back to his home state in Chicago, and he recently passed about 2 years ago. So
Okay.
um, that was my caregiving experience was actually with a couple that led me to the home I live in today.
And which has led you to be in hospice, like you said. That's
Yeah.
pretty wild way to get there. And I think what I've learned myself, and I know I'm preaching to the choir with you, but hospice is not just end of life. A lot of
No,
people
it's
think,
not.
yeah, a lot of people think that that's the end all, and it's not. And I
It
think
is not.
it's good to, because I'm sure you've seen some people actually go in hospice and then come out and have some recovery and go about their life and live some more years. But
Yes, one of my fondest moments was a patient that when the nurse arrived, the patient was outside cutting the grass. So, so
Like, wait, wait a minute, the right place.
we're like, okay, you're better.
Well, what has
So,
been some of the challenges, the sacrifices, and the changes you've faced along the way? Because you've been quite around the block, as they say, with just your different things, and being able to be there for that family is incredible. But what's been some of your challenges?
as a caregiver, challenges are can be time management, can be needing like mental health breaks,
Mm,
um, the just the task management. It can become overwhelming. You can have days you don't feel like it, and
mm.
and if you don't address that, it grows, and it can turn into some bitterness and frustration, and um, it can become viral. And if there isn't some way to do a hard reset, being a caregiver can it can take a toll on you if you don't have systems in place to keep you balanced, and if you don't allow yourself room for self-care, um, that can be challenging.
Glad you shared that, Latanya, because that is so true. I think the more that, and that's what I enjoy about having people like you on here and just having conversation, that anybody can stumble across this one day and hear these words and to be encouraged, because if we're all honest and real, it is hard, and
Yes,
everybody's going through their own thing, and you can't compare stories and circumstances because it's real for
yes,
each of us going through it.
yeah.
And I share all the time, me, my wife, and my sisters, we're going through it with my mom and dad. They're 91 and 93. Lord
Mm,
willing, mama be 92 the 25th of this month. And I try my best, pray God give me the strength to be the son they need.
yes,
And then
and you
and then the
mentioned that.
phone can ring and my buttons will get pushed. I'll be in the middle of doing something, or like for example, tonight, I'm concentrating, getting some things done. The phone rings. I'm on a flag lot, so I'm very close
Mhm.
to mom and dad, thankfully. But
Okay.
sometimes that can be a little too close. But it's just simple little things, to go out there
Yeah.
and change a light bulb or do whatever. But I think it is important, like you said, um, for the caretaker to take care of themselves, because if the caretaker takes himself out, then who's there? And the
Yes.
mental aspect of it is super important.
Yes,
So
it
what
is.
what do you do to take care of yourself when the stress gets high and the patience gets thin, and you deal with some stuff with your profession, being in hospice, dealing with family members, you just want to yank your hair out sometimes. So how do you decompress?
I have a lot of them, but I won't name everything. But I will give some good tips. My favorite is a bubble bath.
Okay.
You have to close the door and just be unavailable. That's my favorite um, scheduling moment on my day timer. The time that I'm unavailable, you have to actually have your schedule, and don't tell anyone what it is you're doing. You have to have on there when you're unavailable, and when someone tries to schedule something, you say, well, no, I have something else scheduled at that time. And you never tell them what it is because they'll try to undo it.
Yeah.
So I do have my days where I schedule when I am unavailable.
Okay.
Um, so that's a very key thing for caregivers. The same way you schedule doctor's appointments, and AT&T can't come to the house at 1 because I'm taking mom to the doctor. You can decide on Tuesday at 6 that no, I'm not taking any phone calls, and everything, and decide when you will be unavailable. Um, my other is coloring books. Actually, I went from coloring
Ah,
books to painting. I love a old large print coloring book with some
right.
24 count Crayola, and just sit.
There you go.
And I act like an 8-year old. I trace it first and color it in, and that's just my time. And so coloring and painting are outlets for me. I will go to the nail shop. I will cook certain foods. I have a taste for something. I cook like I
Mm,
love myself. So My kitchen is my fortress sometimes. So
Yeah,
those
that
are
is
some good.
awesome.
Yeah, those are
I
some good
like
ones.
I like the coloring idea. I haven't thought about
Yeah.
that. I can see where that could be relaxing.
Yes.
So share some more, because that's we're kind of talking about your coping mechanisms and also and the highs and lows. But I like that. It's
Yeah.
just, I never thought of getting some crayons and tracing and
Yeah.
color, and I could see where you could kind of get lost in that.
You
You
can.
know, now when you say
And
bubble bath, I'm old school. Only thing I think of like Mr. Bubbles. So I'm sure you don't have like the Mr. Bubbles. You have some
no,
fragrance and stuff that smells good.
Dr. Teal. Dr. Teal.
Okay.
Dr. Teal, and I used to be an Avon representative, so I'm huge on
Ah,
Avon.
okay. Yeah.
I did Avon for about 8 years, so just old school classic Avon bubbles or Dr. Teal is perfect, and put
I will
candles
tell you,
around the tub.
I think most people have had some sort of run in with multi-level marketing. So
Mm.
was some of those products left over from your
No,
I got I got into a
no,
skincare thing for a while some years back, and you open your cabinet like, oh, I remember doing that, and you still got some
yeah,
products hanging around.
I've
But
run through all that. So now I'm a real customer now, so. But
yeah.
yes, I used to have plenty of stuff left over that I've gone through it all now.
So what does your typical day look like, or your typical week? Do you have certain, obviously, clients that you have on your calendar or your to-do list or task list for the day? Do you stick with them through the term, or do you kind of swap out with other um, colleagues? How does that work?
For me, I am the marketer for the company, so I'm the
Okay.
voice of the company. My schedule is set up where I have days where I am going to personal care homes, nursing homes,
Mm,
hospitals, to assisted living facilities. Sometimes, what I enjoy is going to hang out with the citizens, and they love to have tea parties and ice cream socials and line dancing. They have the best sense of humor, um, and just kind of hang out and fellowship with them.
mm,
Uh, More so than the doctor's offices. Sometimes I go to the doctor's offices and drop off information, but I love to educate the individuals about the
mm.
services so that when
Yeah.
the time comes, they can make an informed decision.
Don't
So,
you find it interesting to where a lot of times old people get forgotten? They just are just an old person sitting in a wheelchair or walking around on a walker or whatever, but you can get in some pretty engaging conversation. Let me share this with you. Hang on.
hmm.
You may like this.
Okay.
This is a thing called Tales. What's it? Can you,
Okay. I see it.
and it's life stories. So it's
Okay.
the lights. But anyway, what it is, it's an interview kit.
Okay.
And for elderly people, so as an example, uh, they have later life and reflection, they have midlife, and they have early life. And it's
Okay.
just random questions that when you're with like I've done this with mom and dad
Okay.
because it stimulates some questions that maybe not have thought of. But a month or so ago, I actually did a video on it. I didn't take the kit out there. I just kind of took some questions from it and went out there and sat with mom and dad and just started letting them reminisce about their childhood, when they
Mm-hmm.
first met,
It's a
things
good
that
book. Okay.
and I watched them just sort of come to life. And they
Yeah.
were thinking about things they haven't thought about, but that'd be a good thing when you go and you visit with some of the patients or clients or whatever. Is just yeah, because mom's mind's starting to go. It's just kind of stressing and concerning to watch, but not so much yet.
Okay.
But they were still able to have some really good conversations. But I think it's great that you go and take the time to socialize, and it's just a good opportunity for a ministry as well. We kind of tell, part of the placement process is it's such a challenge. It's a big decision for someone to move from their home into assisted living community.
Yeah.
Uh, they're having to leave their home, 90% of their furniture.
Yeah.
uh, everything they know, and we try to encourage and just say, hey, God's not through with you. Life's not over.
Yeah.
Don't waste away in your home. These communities, the right ones, are beautiful. There's social interaction. You can make an impact in someone's life. There's someone at the community that you're supposed to be at waiting on you to come in and encounter their life and make a
Yes.
difference, because so many people are lonely. They don't have family to come visit with them. I mean, we can get into plenty of sad stories, right? Of
Well, you could,
families that,
yeah.
yeah,
It's
but I
the
think
eye
it's
of the
just,
beholder.
yeah, absolutely. Um,
I want
so
to respond to that. Leaving
sure.
home. When that's one of the, as the marketer, because I go into the homes to set everyone up. That was one of the
Hmm.
saddest realities for me, because we've come in a phase of life where we were taught work 30 years and retire and go home.
Mm,
And it's unfortunate when I see veterans and individuals that have, even nurses, people who have served all their life, and then they have to liquidate everything and then leave everything they built. And that's a hard reality to process. Like, we're doing all of this to get to let it go. And so
yeah.
that can be hard, but what you just said was very good, because if you look at it as leaping into a new assignment, like, yeah, you've done your work here, now it's time to, it's like a Moses Joshua type of moment. So like, now you're
Mm,
going to move over into a phase where you can sow into someone else. There's an exchange. I'm gonna put you with a body of people where you can fellowship, type of
mm,
thing. So
yeah.
that's a better way to look at it.
Well, it's something that just kind of, because none of us like change, really, at the end of the
Mm-mm.
day. So
Right.
it's a matter of attitude. Not so, I'm the sometimes the wrong one to be saying this, because I can be stubborn and, kick and buck like a mule and not, want to change. God, why? The big dumb why question, and just try to look ahead instead of look back. Because I've had some bad habits of looking back and being mad,
Mm.
frustrated, whatever. But
Mhm.
honestly, I never dreamed in a million years that I would have this company. And
Mhm.
me and Jeff's been best friends for over 40 years, and the circumstances in his life, he went through caretaking with his parents. His mom, she passed last year. She was in memory care. So, you know, when you live it, the empathy is easy to come by. And
Mhm.
so we're just trying to embrace it and look at how we can use this as a way to touch people and help them through some very difficult, challenging times. So with that said, if you would share with someone that may watch this that's facing having to bring hospice in for their loved one, or maybe even themselves, uh, some mindset skills or ways to view it
Okay.
beforehand.
I have an answer for that.
Okay.
I If you can imagine my disposition, because I'm a bubbly person by nature,
Hmm.
and when a person is being approached with hospice, sometimes when I come in, my energy is very much off from what the family's just been told, or the topic that's about to be presented. But I feel like hospice is the red carpet to healthcare. I say that because everything comes to the patient. There's no need for the office visit. The medications come straight to the door. They get equipment into the house. They get their supplies. They get the nurse, the CNA, a chaplain, a social worker. Their insurances are covering it at 100%. And hospice is a service. It is not a building. It is a service that's being rendered to an individual wherever they are. It follows the patient. So when I tell a person, if they know when they're getting out of the bed in the morning that they are falling, they're a fall risk rolling out of the bed. They twist their ankle trying to get out the bed to go to the bathroom. They need to elevate their legs. They can't sit up and watch the television. I just named a whole bunch of things that a bed being put in that house can make a difference in their life. We put a hospital bed in the house with a bedside table. They can get a bedside commode. They can get wheelchair. They can get oxygen. There are medications that are attached to that diagnosis. They have a chaplain if they need a place for an outlet, some type of comfort. They have a social worker to help them with resources. And then you have the nurse that's coming to manage your health while you're at the lowest health point in your life. That may take you out.
Mm.
And if everything is happening, uh, there's a mile a minor a small chance that the person may actually um go back up, so
Mm.
it can extend the quality of their life versus suffering. There are some levels of pain management that can be given beyond just a prescription medication. So when you look at it like that versus the stereotypical, you're trying to say that I'm about to die, they're just going to come in and
Mm.
help me die. No, we're here to add quality of life to as long as you live. So, and that's what's actually happening.
I really love so red carpet for
Really?
healthcare. I'm gonna
Yes.
steal that. Can I steal that,
I
Latanya?
no, I'm gonna charge you for it.
You see me on stage one day, hospice is the red carpet of healthcare. Mark, that's incredible. Yeah. And
Well,
you'll be
you
like,
have to.
hey, now wait a minute. I
Let me
gotta
just
make sure
preface it
I
with
got it.
Latanya from Family
Natasha.
First Hospice said.
Exactly. I really like that though. That is really awesome.
It
I've
is.
never heard that. And
It's
what a
it
neat
is.
way. And
Mhm.
just hearing it is less of an angst
Yeah.
type of comment. That in
Yes.
itself can, kind of take the guard down so that, someone's not
Mm-hmm.
so freaking out about, oh my good gosh, what am I
Mm-hmm.
facing? So
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
What have you found? Maybe this is a doesn't come out like I want it to, but what would be the main thing that a family is resistant of? Is it the lack of knowledge of what hospice is?
And it's the name. Yeah. If we could
Okay.
call it free healthcare, you know,
Yeah.
so but even that people it's like a sounds too good to be true, and it's crazy that sometimes hospice can sound too good to be true.
Yeah.
Uh but that's
Wonder
that's the
wonder, yeah,
hardest
that
thing.
is crazy because honestly, until I really got involved in this industry, I was the same way. Hospice. Oh no, they're bringing in hospice. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
let the funeral music begin.
See?
So
Mm-hmm.
that's it's really neat. But I like that. I'm gonna remember that, and I'll give you
Thank
credit.
you.
So,
That's why I
so
do what I do. So
this is going to be a big question because
okay.
I know that no matter how strong some people believe, some people don't. I get that. I understand that. I've had moments to where um, I've questioned,
Okay.
and you face plant, and you're like, God, or where'd you go? Do you exist? Is this real? So, with that said, have you experienced a crisis of faith, and if so, how'd you overcome it?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I did well with my crisis. 2 years ago this month, I was in a car accident.
Oh,
My car dropped 40 feet into an embankment, and I cracked my neck. I cracked 3 ribs. I broke my spinal column. I broke my C3 through 7 and my T3 through 7. And I had a contusion to my lungs. Um,
this
my
was
car,
when?
2 years ago this month, Thanksgiving weekend, 2021. I was heading home and missed my turn. GPS told me to go 200 feet, turn left. I was following the GPS at night, and the road, my tires blew, lost control of my car, and it dropped me 40 feet down in some trees. And it took them six
Wow.
hours to find me. It took them 2 hours to cut me out of the car. They put me on a board, craned me. The fire truck put me on the board and craned me up and brought me back up on land. Threw me in an ambulance and rushed me to Grady trauma unit. The next day they performed surgery. I had 2 rods and 10 screws in my back. Um, I was in the hospital 10 days, 56 days of recovery, and been back Zumba and swimming. And when it happened,
Now, was you conscious the whole time?
I passed out a couple times because when I came to, I realized I'm still in the car and I'm trying to get out and I can't because I didn't know my back was broken. And I said, Lord, I know too much about you. And I
Mm,
said, and I know you will not pervert me with anything outside of my will. And it is not my
wow.
will to die. I said, I cannot be the person in the box. I need you to get me out of here. And I
Who found
started
you?
my dad.
That had to be traumatic for him.
Well, he was when they called him and told him. My dad lives 2 miles from me, and he
Okay.
said he told the Lord 6 hours later they were getting tired, and he said, Lord, show me where my baby is. He said the Lord told him to get out and start walking, and he stopped his car 100 feet from where I was.
You the bionic woman now. Yeah. Well, I am glad you
I
are
I know.
doing as good as you are. That, jeez. Wow.
Yes, yes. So that's my miracle testimony. God is real, and He can do it. If you believe
Wow.
it, because
What
it
a
comes
story.
by faith. Yes, I was like, this is not my day. This is not my time. And so,
Isn't it crazy how something like that happens and it's able to increase your faith,
yes, but it's
right?
by choice. It's a choice
Well,
to
that's what I'm
increase.
saying. It's yeah,
Yes.
it's by choice, but that kind of ties into what we were saying earlier about having to make the decision of doing the right thing for the
Hmm.
loved one, and the loved one going, okay, I think it would be best for me. We're facing, like with mom and dad. I understand and I respect
Hmm.
them wanting to stay in their home
Hmm.
until their last breath. I respect that.
Hmm.
But it's kind of like when you know what's best for your child.
Right.
Mom and dad is not in a healthy environment with lack of social activity anymore.
Okay.
They just sit out there and stare at each other
Okay.
or stare out the window to see what I'm doing,
Okay.
or whatever. So it's not that we want to, because obviously being a placement agent, I see some incredible places.
Oh, they're beautiful. Yeah.
And so my dad would blossom. He really would blossom. He's the social one.
Okay. Oh,
And
yeah. With fellowship. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, and he back when he was younger, he felt called to the ministry, but ended up being his ministry was his business. So he was in the field. And so I
Okay.
just know that dad could do phenomenal, and could still continue a ministry. Uh, so anyway, I'm just sharing that. You just sit
I'm
there
listening.
and you watch, and I'll tell you an intimate story here.
Okay.
I'm gonna confess this to the world. This is a
Okay.
behind the scenes, real life,
Uh
real life.
huh.
A few weeks ago, phone rings. It was on the weekend, and I could tell mom was upset. And she's like, "Can you come out here?" I said, "What's wrong?" She goes, "Your dad's uh, he's being aggravated at me." And
Okay.
so I go out there, and they're sitting over there on the love seat, all sulking, And I said, "What's going on?"
Mm-hmm.
And so let me back up and explain it to the point to where I try to let dad know they've been married 70 years. So there's
Okay.
70 years of marriage, good,
Yeah.
bad, and different, ups, downs,
Mhm.
back, forth, in, out, all that stuff. Is I said, Dad, the the things that mom has about her personality that's aggravating to you, I understand 70 years is a long time. There's things
Mhm.
that she does that pushes my buttons. I said, but what you got to try to understand, and what I'm trying to, I didn't say this in front of her. This was
You
telling
with
him another
him.
time.
Okay.
Is I said, I'm trying to remind myself, mom's not aware of what she's saying and doing now.
Okay.
So try to pull your punches, so to speak, mentally,
Be
because
nice.
because she doesn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's some of the same personality traits, it's not her like it was years back.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, with that said, I understand that there's been a lot of loss. They've lost friendships. We took dad's keys away. Mom cannot cook. And she was the traditional stay-at-home mom, worked her tail off to raise a family. She cooked 3 meals a day. I'm not kidding. She cooked 3 meals a day from scratch. It wasn't in a box. It was just she cooked 3 meals a day. And the work that comes with that, the laundry, the shopping. She was always a good budgeter. She knew how to shop. All that's been taken away.
I know.
So that's what led up to what happened. Dad's doing his best to do what little caretaking he can when he shouldn't be at 93. But we have 2 nurses that stays the night with mom. So me and my sisters tried to do it till it got past our capabilities or what have you. So we do have 2 nurses, but so dad helps out where he can. So I said, what's going on? So back to the visit, and dad was going to cook some pot pies.
Okay.
So what happened was he had turned the oven on, and obviously he went to put the pot pies on in the oven before it was preheated. So mom was trying to let him know
it's not ready yet.
that it's not ready. And so for whatever that turns into some bonker bizarre, and I was internally I'm laughing, but I said, look,
I know.
I can't do anything about y'all's relationship. I said, but it breaks my heart that y'all are driving each other crazy out here. And dad said, we're open for some suggestions. I said, I don't think you want to hear my suggestions.
Take
I said,
a nap.
but here we go. They don't drink, but I'm like, have a drink. They don't drink. No, I'm just kidding.
I
But
take a nap. I said, lay
yeah,
down and take a nap.
But I said, you both need to be willing to make some changes. I said, I know there's been a lot of loss. I know that there's been a lot taken away. There's been a lot of your friends have passed. Mom, you're the last surviving of your family. All her siblings have passed. All that. I acknowledge that. I said, but you've got to be willing to socially engage. I said, we can take you to a senior center. I said, not assisted living community, a senior center. You could go have meals with people. They have outings. They have things they can do. But it's like talking to the wall. And I said, but I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking right now. I said, as we speak, Israel has been invaded by a terrorist country. Hamas has invaded Israel. People have been raped, murdered, babies beheaded, and we're in here arguing about pot pies.
Like, and you darn right. Don't tell me when to put
and they both just kind of like I spanked them or something. But I was just like, you gotta be kidding me.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
But that's as trivial as that situation was. It was real. Mm-hmm. So I'm sharing that just to so anybody that stumbles across this, it's okay to be fed up sometimes. It's okay to just be frustrated, and you don't even know what to say or do sometimes. Mm-hmm. But regardless of, that's their world.
And that's going to one day be one of the best days ever. The day they were still fighting 70 years later.
Over a pot pie. So I can never have it. My wife makes an awesome chicken pot pie. I'll never be able to eat chicken pot pie again.
Okay. I know you're going to just break. I only wanted was to put it in the oven.
It's just that I tell you,
Yeah.
it's never a dull moment. But well, hey, is there anything else you like to add that we have not
I you
taught?
just made me
Anything?
think of you made me think just then about triggers. Um there is a there are senior not senior, there are caregiver support groups. There's also a group called Celebrate Recovery. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. Celebrate Recovery is it's like a 12-step program, almost like AA, but it's a Christian based program that deals with hurts, habits, and hangups.
Okay.
And they have grief components to it. You know, some people are dealing with addictions, divorce, grief, um, codependency, you know, so forth. So Celebrate Recovery is like a large outfit that deals with different branches of matters of life, and triggers are huge because yes, there will be the day that pot pie will be a trigger. I mean, for real. It's
Yeah.
like the simplest little thing. You know, I saw where I know a lady where her daughter passed and she handled it like a champ.
Mm.
But then her dog died. And when her
Oh.
dog died, her all the grief just fell in like a flood. And and all her old and new pain came to the forefront because her dog died. And but the trigger was the death. So having a place to go and a safe haven to go and dump your thoughts is very
Mm.
important, you know, as a caregiver and as a medical professional even, because they're
Mm.
dealing with the wounds, they're looking at the families because sometimes they're turning a body over and it has a sore on it, you know,
Mm.
where they just got this patient and you got a sore the size of a fist because somebody
Wow.
just couldn't turn the person or couldn't
Right.
or didn't care to make it a big deal, you know. So um your parents find some my thoughts as you were talking were if they're still able to get up and get out, take them to strawberry patches or apple orchard or find some prayer breakfasts on Saturdays and let them go fellowship with some seniors and
Yeah.
establish some relationships and let them invite them out and they may gravitate to, you know, some fellowship with other people versus
Yeah.
the the um the thought of a home. So
Yeah.
so
That's awesome.
indirect. Yeah.
All right. I gotta share when you brought up the dog. My
Oh,
dog is my look at here. Look at her. Always in my lap.
look at that. Speaking of,
Got a little jacket on.
I
So
see.
so I always in my lap. So when you said the dog, I'm like, wait a minute now.
You're like, huh,
That
don't say that.
no, it's like as crazy it is. I'm like, man,
You
that'd be
couldn't
part of my
imagine if
soul.
that dog. Yes.
No,
Yeah.
some people don't get it, but hey, I'm not bashful about my dog.
You're like
So you,
my daughter passed 2 years ago, but then my dog died. You know, so it's just
I gotta have some pot pie now.
as you're eating a whole pot pie, right?
Oh, listen, you have been a joy,
Thank
and I
you.
want to
Thank you. Thank
thank
you.
you for taking the time. I thank God I met you,
Thank
and
you.
so I really mean that. And so I want to continue, building a rapport and getting to know each other. And
Yes.
on when we get off here, I want to share a couple of things with you. But anyway, is there anything you like to add, or you good to wrap it up?
I'm ready to wrap it up if you're ready to wrap it up. Just let everyone know that we are here. Don't assume that you're not appropriate for it. Let us give us the situation and let us see if we can put help in place because it's better to have too much than not enough.
All right,
So,
let's do this. I should have created this. What give do you have a website or a phone number you want to share with people?
but my direct number is 404-977-3614. Don't be calling me trying to see if I got a man. Um, Family First Hospice. Our direct number is 678 269-4743, and the
Okay.
website is www.familyfirsthospicecare.com.
Okay. And what areas do you guys cover?
We service 14 counties, so I'm more than
Okay.
certain that whoever is on this live, we're able to take care of them. And if we
Okay.
cannot, I'm always networking. So don't ever think that you're going to put a situation in my hands that I can't handle. If
Okay.
I'm not the point of contact, um, then I will put it in the right hands versus
Okay.
passing it back. So
All right. And the name of the company will be on the thumbnail at the beginning of this video. So if anybody needs the name, they can just start the video
that's
over and it'll be on the thumbnail. So it'll be there.
that's
So
perfect.
Latanya, thank you so much. And until next time, we are signing off, people. Have a good
Thank
rest
you.
of your week.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
It's supposed to be in stream. Here we go.
That's me. Party ain't over. Like